All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for attending today's event, 3 Business Growth Strategies from 3 Resilient Business Women. My name is Heather Breithop. I am the Director of Digital Media for Conveyance Marketing Group, and I am very excited to be moderating today's discussion. So our panel of speakers who will be introduced in just a moment are going to be sharing deeper insights into business growth strategies that they have identified through their many years as CEO.
There we
Go. Sorry about that. So strategies that we're going to be sharing in today's event are going to be surrounding lead generation, capital management, maintaining critical assets, and the importance of continually building relationships and partnerships. We will be leaving 10 to 15 minutes at the end of today's event for Q&A. So if you have any questions that come up throughout the discussion, please feel free to post them in the Q&A chat that you should see above. Introducing our speakers. We have Deb Best, the owner and principal for Deb Best Practices. Deb has more than 30 years of business change management and stakeholder communications and human resources leadership experience. We also have Amy Roman, CEO and CEFO, or CEO of CEFO Advisors. Amy is an accomplished CFO and change agent. She has 28 years of experience turning companies around, reestablishing investor and banking relationships, handling merger and acquisition activity. She is, as the founder of CEFO Advisors, she operates as a boutique firm that delivers tailored solutions and truly her team integrates as members of your core team. We also have Kristine Jacobson. So Kristine is our fearless leader at Conveyance Marketing Group and has 25 years of experience with notable corporations as well as emerging market disruptors. She has expert marketing strategy with a touch of creative flair. Her knowledge of strategy, plan execution, and branding illuminate the big picture without losing sight of the details. So before we jump into panelist discussion, we wanted to share a few standout metrics that business owners should consider, especially in today's economic landscapes. Throughout the webinar today, you will hear Amy, Deb, and Kristine share some experiences and deeper insights that are closely related to these metrics. So we're just going to run through these real quick, and then we'll move into some Q&A that we have planned for today. First is costs. It costs an employer, on average, 33% of an employee's yearly salary for their exit. Similarly, entry-level employees typically cost 50% of their salary to replace. Over 1/3 of small businesses outsource at least one business process, whether this is financial management, marketing, IT, or HR. And then lastly, cutting marketing efforts during a recession can impact your brand equity and growth for an average of 3 to 5 years. Moving into our questions. So first question that we have is for Kristine. Kristine, to kick things off, what are some creative tactics you have executed for conveyance or clients to get people in the door, especially when budgets are tight? What has worked for you or for your clients and why? Oh, you're on mute, Kristine.
Thank you, Heather. I'm going to share a couple of recommendations and then a few tactics that we've seen work at Conveyance and for our clients. So my first recommendation is don't cut your marketing budget, just readjust it. To do this, you really want to focus on analyzing your customer behavior, whether that's spending patterns, product preferences, service and support, customer journey, or sales close rates. You want to look at all of these metrics in order to optimize your messaging and increase the impact of your marketing dollars. My second recommendation is to be consistent with your brand presence. You want to concentrate on clarity in both your branding and awareness and channels. So don't make any drastic changes to your messaging, brand image, or marketing channels during a recession, because survival is all about your visibility and your liability. And there's a lot of customer uncertainty out there. So those uncertain customers need reassurance that your brand is strong and resilient. Sometimes, though, budgets do have to be cut. It is inevitable sometimes. So if you are going to be adjusting your spend, you want to make sure you're cutting the right costs in the right places to be able to maximize that effectiveness and remain resilient. You want to make sure that all of those dollars that you're spending are going to be reducing a negative impact on your brand and your ROI. So as far as tactics go, I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm just going to give 3 tactics that have worked really well for the conveyance clients and conveyance ourselves, because we're our own client as well. So the first one, pretty simple. It's word of mouth. You know, online reviews and ratings, they're so important during a recession. You want to use every touch point you can to encourage your customers to leave them and you know, even leave reviews, leave ratings, and also agree to be case studies for your company. You know, everyone on this call, everyone, you know, when you need something, you call a friend, you call a colleague, you call a family member, you go to Google and you read reviews, you go to Angie's List when you, you know, want to work with a contractor. And why is that? That's because we trust those people. So reviews at a time like this are super important. Plus, another thing about referrals and reviews, a referral in particular, it has a really high close rate. The close rate on a referral is about 50 to 70% versus just a straight up cold call. So this is where conveyance is putting a lot of our efforts right now, and we're also encouraging a lot of our clients to put their efforts to the same spot. My next tip or tactic that we are using a lot is video, but specifically YouTube ads. They're inexpensive, they're entertaining, and they're very, very effective. We have actually seen clients cost per click as low as 11 cents. So super cost effective. And YouTube, believe it or not, catches 84% more viewers' attention than television ads. So it's just, again, another way to reassure your customers and your prospects that your brand's strong and that you're resilient in time of recession. Plus, I always use this phrase, people giggle, but it earns you a lot of Google juice. Google owns YouTube, and anything that helps you move up on the Google rankings is a top priority. Finally, my next tip is email, hands down. That's how all of you on the call got here. We didn't run ads. We didn't run YouTube ads, but we did send you emails. That's how you all got here. So we all have customer lists, and now's the time to use them. You want to be, especially in recessionary times, you want to be talking with your customers. You want to build your brand. Through email, you can share tips, you can share information to help your customers make it through this hard time. It's also a time to use your email to talk internally. We've been running a lot of internal communications programs for our clients, just a way to build culture, quell any insecurities, and reinforce to your internal clients, your employees, that your company is doing well. So I would say, you know, for email, you just really want to keep those communications channels open. Any business leader on the call today, you need to spend more time talking to your clients and talking to your employees. And email is a really simple way to personalize communications and make people feel cared for. That's pretty much what I have. I just want to reiterate that, sometimes your budget cuts are inevitable. So if you have to adjust your spend, you really do need to make sure that you're cutting the right costs in the right places. You're analyzing, your customer, behavior to make those decisions, because you don't want to have any kind of budget cut negatively affect your brand and your ROI. So.
No, I agree with that, Kristine. Just to kind of summarize some of the points that you hit on that I think are very creative and then also scrappy. We love scrappy marketing at Conveyance. Leveraging case studies and testimonials to really establish brand authority and continue to build your brand reputation is so smart. Kristine also mentioned YouTube ads. So YouTube ads, they are cheap. We've had cost per click as low as 11 cents. Kristine called out a standout metric there, 84%. YouTube ads get more attention than TV ads. I find that very interesting, but I'm not surprised to hear that. And then also that's a way to help your SEO, because Google owns YouTube, so you can get some Google juice, as Kristine said as well. So thank you for that. Very, very helpful. Deb, we had talked about this the other day, and Kristine just touched on bringing more contacts into your pipeline. She talked about some creative ways to establish and build trust. In your experience, what are some ways that after getting contacts into your top of your funnel, how do you continue to build that relationship and nurture these leads?
So I learned this during the Great Recession. I started my business during the Great Recession. That was the third time in my career I had been laid off. The first two times were working for GE and working for a nonprofit. So I think I've worked through 8 or 9 recessions. I don't want to count them anymore. So I kind of, as one of my managers would say in GE, I kind of dumbed into it. I'm been a recruiter all my career, my HR career. I was a Marcom writer before my HR career, and I'm great at getting a job. I love hiring people. I'm great at getting a job. My daddy's career salesman, worked on commission only. He's crazy. I don't know if he's on today, but I throughout my career, I've gotten almost all of my jobs through networking, and I feel blessed, maybe because we're a small enough area in Capital Region, small Albany, New York, but I know a lot of decision makers. So during the Great Recession, I did what I usually would do. I would reach out to decision makers I knew. They were happy to meet with me. This was before the pandemic, so we would meet in person, and I would use my usual spiel, and they would say, I don't know of any jobs. There are no jobs in the want ads. And I said, you're right. And one of them started asking me each meeting, what are you doing instead? What are you doing in the interim? I said, well, I've been hired as a consultant to work on this project and this project. I can talk about projects when they're not confidential. So that seemed to get everything juiced up. I love that Google juice thing, but that and I think this is another important thing. My daddy, the best salesman I know in my life, it's show me, don't tell me. So don't ask for the order during that initial conversation. You're listening to their needs, and then you're talking about, well, it's kind of like verbal case study. I think all 3 of us on this panel, we're high confidentiality, high trust. And I think for some business owners, especially if they haven't worked in large organizations, they might not know like the full depth and breadth of how we can help business owners. So I pretty much kind of, as my father would say, do the job in the interview. And so I not only talk about projects I'm working on, but I also, if I was a baker, I'd offer free cookies. I love cookies. But instead, I always say, to my network, and that includes Amy. Amy and I are both members of Entrepreneurs Organization. We also belong to a BDB group, yay! And that helps the reputational juicing, because you're talking about what you're doing. And I always say to my network, and I truly mean it, because I love what I do. If you have a quick question, give me a call. I'm happy to talk to you. If it gets past the 30-minute mark, and I want to tell you, our network, Amy, our network locally, they're wonderful. Like I'll be talking to one of our network colleagues for 15 minutes and they'll say, bill me for this. And I'll say, no, I don't bill for less than an hour. So let's keep talking. So I think it's that spirit of generosity, give before you get. That's how I build up the reputational juicing.
That also sounds like a really good way to build not just a, single time client or customer, but it really extends it to more of a partnership and someone
Yes.
that's going to keep coming back to you time and time again. And I loved what you said about listening to their needs, and making sure that you're focusing first and foremost on solving what it is that is their pain point and really trying to help them first before kind of jumping into a proposal or a scope of work type discussion. I think that's really important. So that's great. Thank you, Deb.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So Amy, we wanted to talk to you as well about building relationships, because building relationships is especially critical in what you do and what the team at CEFO does. Company finances in general can be a sensitive and vulnerable area for many business owners. What is it that you have seen recently, or that you have done for clients to ease tension, aid stability, and support growth, especially during the current economic landscape?
Those are good. That's a good question. It is a little tenuous right now out there, and initially I want to just say that you need to protect your employees, you need to protect your assets, and you need to protect your clients all in one. Those are your biggest, most important things that you can that will help you survive through the downturn. But the strength of our client relationships is the key to our success, and knowledge is power, and cash is still king. So helping our clients understand their 13-week cash flow and keeping it updated on a regular basis really helps them see 3 months out where they're going to be. And I have clients that live and die by that more so than even their budget, although the two are always married together. Diligently staying on top of this 13-week cash flow is how you get through the recession. Making sure that your cash is working for you. Coming out of COVID, many of us have cash reserves, and making sure that it's not sitting, your cash reserves aren't sitting in an operating account that doesn't earn interest. I think that we see oftentimes when we come into clients, especially lately, clients have what I call lazy cash. They have their reserves. They have quite a bit of reserves sitting in their operating account, and have been, because we're so used to living in a time when interest rates were so low that it wasn't worth putting the money in money markets or CDs. Now interest rates are high, much higher than they've been in years, and making that money work for you, the return is pretty high right now. It's 4%, on average. I see money markets and CDs right now in certain banks and products at the 4% level. Reviewing how you're really maximizing your balance sheet, making sure that you're on top of your receivables, making sure your clients are engaged, are happy. That will ensure that your bills get paid, right? And then on the converse, making sure that you're not overpaying on things. We have CFOs who go into our clients, and the first thing they look at is they look at, the costs that they're paying to suppliers. They analyze and review and compare bills to each other with that supplier, because we found that, suppliers can get a little devious sometimes, and our staff is so busy. Our staff, meaning the staff at our clients, is so busy that they can't double check every single thing. And sometimes, even though the purchase order may say it's $10.15, the bill comes in and it's $15.10, and it's not caught until somebody has oversight over that. So it's really important. Our CFOs have gone to renegotiate contracts with suppliers. They've also gone to suppliers and say, hey, you know what? You've overcharged my client $90,000 this year. What are you going to do about it? Those things are really super important. You know, and also, you know, keeping your clients as partners is really important. I can remember during COVID, in particularly, I went to our clients and I said, look, I'm not going to charge you for my time, or I'm going to reduce my time, my billing rate for your time during the next 3 months, because we're in this together, and your success is our success. I've had clients that have like a downturn in the past, and I adjust our fees to help them for a few months, or, you know, every once in a while I'll give somebody a free month because they really deserve it and they need it, and they've been with us for a long time, and that creates a really strong partnership for us, and it shows that you care. It shows that you really care about your clients. You know, we also so our controllers and our CFOs are really good about reviewing financial statements with business owners and explaining to them how the balance sheet works in conjunction with the income statement, and how you can maximize your revenue producing ability and all that kind of stuff. You know, and during the last downturn, the last big recession, I was working with a macroeconomic advisory firm. I'd been there for 5 years, and we were scared because in the normal cycle, those types of businesses are those that excel during that time. But we weren't. We were losing clients left and right. And so what we did was we said to everybody, what's more important? Keeping the team together, or everybody taking a bit of a reduction in pay and keeping everybody together. And everyone agreed that taking that 20% reduction made a lot of sense. And so it was the beginning of the year, beginning of 2008. And we had everybody across the board take that 20%. And we gave them an option. You can work 4 days a week for 20%, the 20% reduction, and get your work done in those 4 days. Or you can choose to keep your 5 days with a 20% reduction, and we will work our damnedest to get you back that money. So everybody worked really hard together. I've never seen anything like this, because if you look to your left and you look to your right, those people are your friends. They're not just colleagues, right? So we worked really hard, and at the end of that year, everybody was reimbursed that 20%, and we also got bonuses that year. And I think that was one of the most successful years. It ended up being one of the most successful years, because I think that there's a lot to be said about teams and working together with the people that work with you to really be successful. And I think that bonding together and empowering people on your staff is what is going to get you through this downturn.
Amy, I think that is amazing. It's an amazing best practice story. You know, I learned how to lay people off at GE. It's never fun, or it doesn't feel right to lay people off. And what you just described, is some of these businesses who are doing a horrible job. I mean, it's laying people off is hard enough, but killing your reputation while you're doing it. But Amy, that is best practice. That's trust. That's everything.
Yeah, I totally agree. That was such a motivating story, Amy. 100%. I think it speaks to your talents as a leader as well, and having the communication with your team.
Yeah, there's, if you can empower your staff and already have that strength in your team, and you ask them to look to the left and look to the right, which one of the three of you should be laid off? No one wants anybody to be laid off. So let's be creative around that.
Yep, absolutely. You made some really good points throughout your entire answer to that question, Amy. I think everyone is going to go and look more closely at 13-week cash flow and how they can really use their cash reserve, lazy cash, making your money work for you. But one thing I want to touch on is that you mentioned that the critical assets that a business owner has is your people, your brand, and of course your finances, your cash. For each of our panelist speakers today, could each of you share how you help clients and yourselves protect these assets?
Who do you want to go first?
Kristine, you go
All
first.
right, I'll go first. So I heard both from Deb and Amy, like really creative ways. And I think, we're a creative firm, so we try at every angle to be creative in how we do everything. But really, I would say to protect people, profit, and brand, what we're telling our clients right now is spend through it. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's during a recession, it's not the time to cut your marketing and advertising budgets. And at Conveyance, we drink our own Kool-Aid. We're actually spending more on marketing and advertising right now than we did a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, because we feel it's that important. It's a well-documented fact that brands that increase their marketing and advertising during a recession and put their money where it matters, as their competitors are cutting back, will actually improve their market share and their growth potential. So I'm not trying to make it sound self-serving, I'm a marketer and don't cut marketing, but a lot of people pull back, and I really think you need to spend through, because the needs are still out there, and when there's less in the pool, and you're shining out there, you're going to win. So that's my, because that also protects your people, because you can still keep your employees employed. It protects your brand, because your brand is still a beacon out there in the marketplace, and your profit. You are going to be growing while others are shrinking back in fear.
Kristine, that is great, and I just want to jump in here because I've worked in the fashion industry before, and I learned very quickly that you never want to dilute your brand. Diluting your brand is probably the number one worst thing you can do for your business. And you're absolutely right. Don't dilute your brand by decreasing the spend in marketing right now, because you've got to stay out there. You've got to stay valid. You've got to really reach out to people any way you possibly can. I love working with you, Kristine, and you've added so much value. But everybody needs to protect your brand, stand in your value, and don't dilute it.
Yep. And you do. I mean, sometimes it's just, if you have to cut a little bit back, you just need to be scrappy and know where to spend it. You need to spend your money in really wise ways.
So
Absolutely.
in terms of protecting assets, I'm sorry, Heather, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just saying, absolutely. Go ahead, Deb.
So one, I am a vendor. So last year I was paid 3 times on one invoice. So that's why organizations need senior, experienced, and capable finance and accounting people like Amy provides, because a lot of smaller businesses, it's the office manager who doesn't have an accounting and finance background. And it's if you hired Amy outright, you couldn't afford her. But if you use her and her CFO's outsourced, you're getting the bang for the buck. You're not paying the salary and benefits, and you're not paying your vendors 3 times on one invoice. And from an honesty standpoint, I of course reached out to my client and said, yeah, I'm going to reallocate this to the other payments. So that, I think, is so important. I think that in terms of what senior, strategic senior HR practitioners do, we save money. We don't make money, pretty much. But where we save money is harassment claims, discrimination claims, classifying your employees, making everybody salaried exempt when some of them should be hourly non-exempt. I mean, one penalty from the EEOC $80,000. I don't know a lot of organizations that'll say, "Yay, I have that." That can close an organization. So where a strategic HR person helps is, okay, don't, it's a lot of don't do this, don't do that, but it's about saving money. It's not just about, I love being right and telling you what to do. And it does save money. I mean, no harassment training, huge money saver. I have people coming out of it, and my lawyer friends and I, we're big believers in, you have to do it in person at least every other year, because people don't pay attention to the online training. I have people coming out saying, I didn't know that was the law. And so that's where a lot of money can be saved, is keeping the business owner out of trouble. And by the way, whenever I start working with a client, one of my first questions is, do you have employment practices liability insurance? That is a cost that is well worth investing in, because what that will do, knock wood, as I knock wood all the time when I talk about this, if you get a discrimination complaint and or a lawsuit, and they can do both at the same time in the great state of New York, that insurance will pay for your legal fees, and hopefully, but it does happen, for a settlement or a penalty. So those are some of the really key places where, as Kristine and Amy have said, you got to spend money to make money. You got to spend money to protect your money.
Mhm.
Well, and that's a really good point, Deb, because, if you have one employee, you need HR. You just need it. I will tell you that throughout my career, I have been asked to oversee or take over HR, and I've done the best I could. But controllers and CFOs are not HR people. We'll do the best we can, but we can't protect our companies from harassment suits and lawsuits. We'll call people in when we have to, but just having that big sister in HR, big brother in HR that you can reach out to when needed is so critical to the success of your employees and to you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Small business owners too. I mean, you started a business because you knew something about something that you're selling. You may not be an HR specialist, a finance specialist, a marketing specialist, an IT, or even a sales specialist. So getting those resources to help you shore up your business and make the right decisions is really important.
So let me give you another crunchy nugget of a cookie, is treat your employees as they want to be treated. That's the platinum rule. Don't treat employees like you would want to be treated, because that doesn't work, I have to tell you. And if you think about, how do I treat them with respect? How do I treat them the way they want to be treated? That is huge. That's a huge but simple piece of culture of retention. That is a cost savings within itself. You saw the cost of turnover. And this is a weird time we're in right now, right? Where they keep saying it's a recession. We've got layoffs in the tech sector, but in a lot of sectors, we can't hire people. There are a lot of open jobs. So it's about using the whole toolkit to protect this main asset you have, the people.
That's a great point.
I want to just mention something. Kristine and Heather and I have sat in EOS meetings for conveyance before. And one of the things that I think business owners lose sight of is that we wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
We are responsible for a lot of different areas, right, Kristine?
Yeah.
And by outsourcing that HR piece, the people piece, by outsourcing the finance piece, by outsourcing the marketing piece, that's 3 hats that you can somewhat move to the side, right? Because you always have to be somewhat involved. Put in the top shelf.
Put on the shelf.
Yeah. But it also, what's most important, it also gives you time back, right? So that you can do what you need to do, whether it's selling, whether it's working with your clients and billing for your time. When you're doing your QuickBooks and you're doing, you're dealing with employment issues or doing your own marketing, and you don't have someone else to help you with that, that takes time away from the time you should be spending with your clients and customers.
Yep.
A big piece of my experience and my service in my current business is that leaders don't know how to speak to their employees. And that's the first area of HR I started in 34 years ago, was employee communications. The tone, the way you say it, the words. Are you meeting their needs as well as your needs? That is bigger than you think. They're watching the owners, they're watching the executives. You're in the white hot spotlight of the fishbowl. They're watching for you to step in it. And I guess what we're asking you is don't step in it. Reach out, ask for some help, because your intentions are platinum as well. You want those platinum intentions to land as platinum on your employees.
I think that that's a really good point to talk about preventative measures. So when we're talking about business growth strategies, Kristine and Amy and well, everyone has touched on the one end, which is, spending into it, right? So leaning into it a little bit, using that opportunity to kind of take more of the market share. You're pushing forward while others are drawing back, giving you a competitive edge. But a huge part of it too is what you've talked about, Deb, which is taking preventative measures. And it makes so much sense because we do that so much in other areas of our lives with, our homes and our cars, right? We take care of them to avoid bigger problems later. We've got to make sure that we're doing that for our businesses as well. So that's a really good point. So I have another question that is for everyone. We've talked a lot throughout this event today about recessions and downturns that you all have faced. What would you say is a number one, and you don't have to give one, you can more than one, but what would you say is a number one strategy that you implemented or that you saw being implemented that enabled growth for your business or for your clients? So Amy, do you want to go first?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's just really being in the trenches for us, it's being in the trenches with our clients and really providing whatever level of support they need, whether it's if they need additional support or temporary support, we rise to the occasion and we treat that as a partnership and as something that is we hold dear. And when they get to a better place, we scale back in the same manner. And sometimes success for us means actually losing a client, right? Because they get to the point where they need to hire a controller or a CFO, right? So it's really following the cadence of where your client is and understanding that you want to get them through to the next level. And so I think that, by being genuine and understanding that, it really helps our clients understand that we're not just in it for our own paycheck. I had someone say to me the other day in a meeting that they were afraid to outsource because we meaning outsource providers, were always conscientious of, losing money or losing, not being able to bill enough, right? And it's actually the opposite. I and my team always want to help our clients by training their staff to get them to be able to do more, leveling them up, bringing in additional people when needed and really evaluating who do we have on staff and what seat do they belong in, right? Do they have the title of CFO and they're really just a great controller? There's nothing wrong with that, right? So really just getting into the weeds with our clients is really how we maintain where we are.
I second Amy's emotion there. One of the most satisfying parts of my business is sharing what I know and teaching what I know. And actually, one of my first big clients, they created the service that I love the most. They brought me in to teach an accounting assistant how to be their HR person. And they had 250 employees. That is way too many employees not to have an internal HR person, let me tell you. So for several months, I worked with her a day a week, and she would save up all her work or call me if she had an HR 911 question. And it's, at GE, they told us that the best achievement is when you can promote your mentees to your level or above. So one of my favorite things to do is to help an organization either train up a really bright and up and coming employee, or help them find their first HR person. be their HR big sister, help set them up for success. And then I obsolete myself. So, and they only call me for the really weird HR questions. And I never want to say I've seen everything, because then something weirder happens. So, but, you know, I have to tell you, I've been in business for 14 years. And again, I think starting during that wild Great Recession, I don't want to say I'm recession proof. I want to say that I'm courageous. I've lived through, I'm not brave. I'll try anything, even though I'm scared, I'll try it. So that gave me great courage, and that's what that's what carries me, is my courage, and also the results I produce. My client success is my success. So, you know, I wish you all courage in however you're running your businesses and whatever you're doing, because again, when I've been laid off 3 times, always got a better job, making more money, and the third time I'm here, and this is the best. This has been the best part of my career. So I wish you all courage.
Yeah, I mean, I would say exactly what Deb and Amy said. Um, I really do think, for me, right at the core of it, the word generosity comes to mind.
Sure.
I try to make that part of our company culture and also part of my daily living. But again, being in business 15 years and also weathering a lot of economic up and down, I think that the resiliency of conveyance is because we are always willing to do more, to be more, and to be generous with who we are, our time, our treasure, our everything. So, you know, even as simple as, you know, and I've had this especially during recession, you have clients coming to you and saying they need to cut back a little bit. Work with them and work with their budget. I mean, it behooves both of you to figure out a right size and a right way. And again, if I go back to one of my initial tips of word of mouth referral, you're building a lot of bridges. You know, for the nonprofit that's down the street that you might need a little bit of help and you have some free resources, well, help them, do a project for them, make it free. And again, it's not all about, oh, good, I did it for free, so they're gonna give me a referral. It's just being kind, being generous with your time, helping, you know, fill a need and a void for your team. You know, just give more of yourself. You know, Deb had talked about training, you know, invest in training, mentor, you know, pair people on the team that, you know, you can upskill, or someone might, we at Conveyance constantly do this. We kind of throw it out in our weekly meeting, you know, who would like to learn XYZ? And then they pair up on, you know, for a few weeks with someone on the team and they get trained into something new. Just want to take care of your employees. And then for, you know, even yesterday I had a call with a young person that found me on LinkedIn. You know, just starting out, graduating from college. She wasn't looking for a job per se, but she was looking for some advice. You know, be a mentor. You know, if you are able to offer internships, offer internships, help make those connections for people, and even for your clients. Always be listening and always be thinking about, oh, I could connect this person with that person, and I could help this person by, you know, referring them to Deb, or referring them to Amy, referring them to another client, pairing up. Like for Amy and Deb and I, after this webinar, we're going to be writing a little ebook that you're all going to get. But that's like pairing up and partnering and doing things together. This is a great time to really stretch yourself and stretch your network, to try to find collaborators, referrers, and just growth opportunities. So that's probably where I would say, you know, again, it's kind of getting creative and getting scrappy. You know, who do you know? How can you help? How can you stretch? If your team has a little bit of downtime, where can you just show your heart and your generosity? And I always think when you do that, it comes back to you. So
I want to give a shout out to one of our, I'm sorry, Heather. I want to say hi to Jason Lurie. He's a
Hi,
member of our
Jason.
Hi, Jason. He's a member of our B2B networking group. And it's not networking. As one of our members says, it's like getting together with your coworkers once a week. We do it mostly via Zoom, and it's not a leads group. It's not a referral group. We're just there for each other, and we're getting to know each other. And what's been amazing about that group is that referring and recommending each other has just come naturally because we trust each other implicitly. So when I refer Jason, for example, I know he's going to do an outstanding job. It's going to get him not only a client, but that's going to reflect well on, hey, I'm taking care of my prospect or my client by, you know, and that goes with Amy. I'm always throwing business at Amy, saying, Amy, they need you. Oh my God, please work with Amy. that you know, that is that's it, you know, that's been, I think, the best part of that group. And Jason was one of the ones who started that group. So thank you. We love that group.
Heather, can I just put in one more tidbit for Kristine? Kristine, I don't remember how many years I've known you, maybe 3. But one of the things that I love the most that you do is you have that day of giving every quarter for your employees.
That's
You
right.
actually give them a day off every quarter to do something altruistic.
Love it.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I just always want to get to the point where I can do that myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can either take a day or you can take, an hour or 2 a week and volunteer where your heart lives. And it's great. We have a whole committee at Conveyance called a care team who dreams up ways to care for one another. This really came about during COVID when we couldn't be together in person. We wanted to figure out how to still be together virtually and how to still help our community virtually if it was that. So yeah, volunteerism is such a huge part of Conveyance, just giving the team hours to spend on their favorite charity, matching gifts when people bring them art to us. And then we also have an annual marketing grant where we give one local or DMV, we're in the DC metro area, but we are going to probably extend it because now we have employees across the country, but we give a full year of marketing services to a nonprofit every year. We've been doing that for all the years that Conveyance has been in business, and everybody loves it. Everyone gets on board with it, and it's not so that we have business afterwards. As a matter of fact, we really discourage it. We try to build up that nonprofit team or volunteers to do what we've done. But it's a big value to them, but it's a bigger value to us.
I love that.
I just want to put a plug in for, you know, what employees love as recognition is a paid day off. So I don't think employers do that enough. They, you know, sure, everybody likes a $25 gift card to Dunkin' Donuts, but if you really want to recognize them and say thank you and I value you, paid day off. They love
Hey,
that.
Heather, you get a paid day off next week. How about that?
There you go.
Okay.
All CFOs who are on the call, they get a day off for their birthday.
See?
It's funny, at Conveyance, Kristine has thrown out, incentives like a $50 Visa gift card, for different internal competitions. But I would say probably the most widely participated by everybody on the team was when she threw out the day, what was it, the day after Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving? I think it was the day before Thanksgiving. We would get off if everyone participated 100% in this one project. And it was very motivating for the whole team, for sure. Everyone really wanted that
Love
day.
That. That's a great idea.
And I will also say what Kristine was saying earlier about, just kind of connecting people. I do think that is so important, and she is really good at it. I can think of the most obscure need that someone could possibly have, and I would go to Kristine to say, hey, do you know someone who does this? And I feel like she would, because she knows everybody. She knows a guy or a girl. So thank you everyone for your answers to that. That was awesome. Everyone's made really great points about, kind of paying it forward, leading from generosity, looking at clients, not just as clients, but as partners, and really kind of having more so that mentality of building relationships and building partnerships. I know that you all have given some examples, but I wanted to kind of just expand on that a bit further. Can each of you give a example or an example of how you've adopted the pay it forward mentality? And then, of course, it wasn't the end goal, right? But how did it end up impacting your business?
So I'm gonna go first. So way back when I started Conveyance, I wanted to make it a place where women, smart women, who might have taken a pause to raise their children or or take care of an elderly parent, and they had a big gap in their resume. I wanted to make a space where these smart women could come back and contribute and work on their terms. And I think today we have pretty much 80% of our employees are full-time, but we still do have, 20% of our employees are part-time, and they're working on their time, and they're contributing to their family, they're contributing to their community. Even our part-timers get half of a day to volunteer in a month. And it's just, it makes a big difference to have an environment where you feel cared for. And that was my goal. I mean, if you looked on our website, you'll see we have like one lonely man among us. The rest of us are women, and we love working together. It's not that I don't want to work with men. It's just that the culture I was creating was to bring these people, these lovely women, back into the work environment when they were feeling as if they didn't have a place to start or belong, or kind of stepping back into something where they, had a big gap. So I think that's my kind of paying it forward.
During COVID, I called up my favorite restaurant for breakfast one morning and found out that they were closed again for 2 weeks. So we took that information, my team and I, and we decided to do a pay it forward program online. And everybody that won would get 2 gift cards, one to use themselves and one to pay it forward to someone else that they wanted to acknowledge. And, I think we had the most fun with that, and we didn't want anything out of it. We just wanted to just give something that we can give people, give the community back, and I think that really helped us get through COVID. We did it for almost an entire year, and I met a lot of really great people through that process.
And Amy, I'm just going to say your holiday gift 2 years ago was my absolute favorite gift I got from any one of my vendors. She did a really great video where she talked about generosity and giving back. And then for every single client, she gave us the option to choose from, a handful of charities to donate to, or we could send to her the charity that we wanted our holiday gift to get donated to. It was lovely. That was my favorite.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun. It's so fun to give back, right?
It is. No, it is. So I want to talk about paying it forward as a business owner. My entrepreneur big brother spontaneously took me out to breakfast. We belonged to the same congregation. He wanted to get to know me. We sat down to breakfast and he said, "I want to know why you're not in your own business." And I want to say to all of you who have side gigs or thinking about going full time into your side gig, if you hear from different people, like 2 or 3 in a very short time period, why aren't you running your own business? Listen to it. So what he did for me, John, is he spent 4 hours with me in our local Panera, and I asked him every fearful question I had about going full-time in my business. Will I be able to get a loan? Will I be able to buy a car? Will I be able to send my kid to SUNY Potsdam, where he's graduating in a couple of months? And he said, yes, yes, yes. And I said, it would break my heart to spend down our savings. And this is the best gift he gave me. He said, you're not going to be spending down your savings. You're going to be making an investment in something that I think is a sure thing. I mean, to have somebody believe in you like that, to see you, boy, is that a gift. So what I pay forward, what John did for me, I have done that for at least two of my colleagues. I've had the same conversation where I answer the fearful questions, where I give courage. And I'm thrilled to say, and I don't talk about this a lot either, is that they both have wonderful businesses. And I feel kind of like, their older Jewish aunt saying, I'm so proud of you. You're so brilliant, but that's how I pay it forward. People have seen me and have supported my success so significantly. I pay it forward that way.
Yep, I love that.
Me
I
too.
love that too. And it often starts creating a ripple effect as well, right? So, that can come back to your business, building that relationship. And again, that can become eventually a referral source. And then by you going and also referring others as well, building up their businesses, that eventually comes back to you as well. So
Heather, the weirdest thing was I did it because John did it for me. I had no expectations,
of
and
course, yep.
one of them referred a huge client to me.
Mhm.
So that was awesome. I had no expectations. I just wished for them what John had done for me.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Amy, Deb, and Kristine. This was extremely valuable. Thank you to everyone who attended today. We will be following up in the next few days with the recording and a couple just attachment pieces of information as well, more on these topics, as well as speakers' contact info, just should you want to reach out with any more questions. But thank you again, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.